But this is another one of the really big realizations I had doing DMT. So we should talk about that.
Okay.
So since doing DMT, which I did it 2 weeks ago, I did it twice in 2 weeks. I had this like overwhelming sense of like, some people do DMT and then they start seeing people as NPCs. I've heard that talked about. Like they start seeing people as like, these are not real people with souls, and like, that's strange to me.
Who said that?
I see it all the time. People's like, I've had friends that do it and they start seeing people as NPCs based on what kind of trip they had. Like if they saw the elves or didn't, if they just saw cool colors or didn't. And for me,
Wait a minute. So you're saying that if people have a DMT trip and they didn't see the elves, and they think of that person who had that DMT trip as an NPC?
As like an NPC, like you don't have like a soul because you didn't really connect with like any beings. You just saw pretty colors, like you had a very simple experience. You know what I mean? But I had the opposite from after doing DMT. I see so much more humanity in everyone I'm around. Like I feel very changed after doing DMT. It's a very profound experience. And like I'm just noticing more things about people. I'm being more aware of like their body language when they talk to me. And I think it was a very positive thing doing DMT. And my experience was the closest thing to a spiritual experience I've ever had, because I've never been a person that's been terribly connected to like anything larger than me. I'd never been religious, never been spiritual. And I'd say it was the closest to like a spiritual thing for me.
I think it is a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an undeniably spiritual thing. And that's the thing about it, is like it forces you to think about love and connection and the bonds that people have with each other in a way that you don't get from anything else. The powerful experience of a transcendent psychedelic moment is it's not like anything else you experience in life, other than maybe like a near-death experience.
Yeah.
But you could argue that they're the same thing. I know people that have had near-death experiences that swear that it was like a DMT trip.
I'm sure. And I don't think it's confirmed, but people say that it's what happens when you legally die or medically die. It's like you have a DMT trip.
Yeah,
and I could see that.
But it's not confirmed, but there's a lot of there's a lot of evidence that points to that.
I could see that. And it, in a way, made me like less fearful of death, because I was like, if this is what happens at the end, it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it going out like that. Like you just get this, for me at least, when I first was hitting it, and then like you start to leave the planet, I felt like this intense like set of rings going around my body, like of just warmth and like happiness and love. And then all of a sudden I'm like in space. And I did see an elf, which is what people call them. There's
what
like
they look like?
Kind of like a court jester, and it had like slinky long arms. And it sounds like crackhead shit if you've ever done DMT.
I know
not
bunch
to
of court
you,
jesters
but
too.
a lot of people have a shared like physical description of what these things look like.
Whatever the fuck they are, whether they're a part of your consciousness or whether these are intelligent entities in another dimension that you're interacting with.
See, that is what I've been questioning since doing this. So I was told by a friend who's done DMT a lot that after you do DMT, pay attention to the real world. And if you believe that the elves are real beings that are independent of something created in your own brain due to the DMT, they'll like send you a sign, right? And I was like, again, crackhead shit. No, I'm not going to meet the elves in real life, right?
Right.
So one of the things in my first trip that they kept telling me was, this is not the end. This is not the end. They kept telling me that because I think I was asking them, like, is this what happens when you die? Like, what is this? They said the phrase, this is not the end, multiple times. Directly after the trip, we go to a restaurant. And I wasn't liking the energy. Like, there's like a glow after you do DMT that you kind of want to maintain. And I didn't like the energy in the first restaurant. So I was like, let's leave. Went to another restaurant.
What was wrong with the energy?
The people were just weird. I don't know. It's like you create like a bubble when you do it with like friends, and you're like, I don't like what they might do to our bubble. So then we go to another restaurant, and there's a huge sign that just says, this is not the end on the thing. And I'm like,
whoa,
what? And then I looked at my friend who told me to look for signs, and he's like, told ya.
Whoa.
So I'm like, I mean, I'm not saying that I think that they really are beings. I'm going back and forth between that.